navy blue of Victoria.
Uses his feet and goes again through mid-wicket. That's an even better shot from the Victorian captain.
Swept away very nicely by Nicole Bolton for four.
Oh, he's been given! That is 50. The man from Northcote.
Welcome to another edition of the Vic State Cricket Podcast. I'm Adam White and Todd Murphy is my guest today. Toddy, welcome.
Thanks, Whitey. Thanks for having me again.
Now, it's been a busy time of it for you, and it only gets busier with the Queensland game starting on Sunday, day-night game, which we'll get to shortly. But I'm just interested in the amount of cricket you've played over such a short period of time. Are you tired? Are you just in the zone? How would you describe physically how you feel at the moment?
Yeah, loving it, actually. It's sort of, I feel like we've found that nice balance at the moment where it feels like the games have kicked in enough that training's sort of there just to keep ticking over, and you're not searching for too much of training because you're consistently playing, which is, as a sportsman, that's what you want to do. So, yeah, it's a great time of the year, and it sort of feels like that, games just flow now, which is awesome.
How would you describe your own form at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's been quite a good couple of weeks personally. Been able to take some wickets, which has been nice. Played in some really different conditions as well, which I think holds you in good stead when you're sort of travelling around the country and having to adapt from wicket to wicket and try and work out different things that might work in each particular one. So I think that's probably been one of the most pleasing things, has been able to sort of bounce between states and still have some success. So I've been really happy with that.
We've spoken a bit about last year and the injury frustrations you had. It didn't totally rule you out of the entire year, but dealing with an injury and then coming back and trying to be the bowler you were a couple of years ago, do you feel that you've sort of gone past that now and that it's all sort of systems go? Yeah,
definitely. I think last year was a challenging year, but one that in many respects I probably needed to have, and was able to learn some really good lessons. And I think planning for this year was sort of about just staying flexible, and if there was a time where I was going to need to have a break and my shoulder wasn't feeling good, that I was going to be okay with that. But touch wood, it's been really good so far. I haven't had to miss any cricket. Played every one-day game, every Shield game I've been available for. So, really happy with sort of the work I've done over the off-season to put me in a position to play. And, it feels like I'm able to do what I want to do out there and compete.
What did you learn through that difficult time, the frustrating time that sort of makes you a better cricketer, a better athlete now, do you think?
Yeah, I think I was probably just a little bit impatient with everything last year, and I was wanting more and more out of myself, and almost pushed it too far to the point where bowling too much in the nets was affecting how I was going into games feeling. And it was one of those things that when it puts it into perspective after sort of quite a big 12 months leading into last year, that state cricket's still one of those things that you're not going to come back and just have immediate success. You've got to still find a way to go through it. And it was a challenge, but I think that sort of gave me what I needed this year going into it. And it's trying to just stay patient with how the year was going to play out and just consistently, I suppose, show up and, give myself the best chance to perform.
How difficult is it, having played for Australia back now pretty much 2 summers ago, and then obviously in the Ashes, 2 massive series against India and England, and then to be said, thanks, Todd, appreciate it, Nathan's back now, just go and play, trade back at state level, and we'll see what happens next. Getting that taste of it and then it being taken away from you. How do you deal with that? Because I can't imagine it would be easy.
No, it's not. And I think getting a taste of it so early, you sort of, you crave it so much and you want it more and more and more. So that was probably, one of those things that you want it to continually happen. But I think when you level it back as well, like understanding that still the opportunity to play for Victoria is amazing. And the group we've got around here, like I was here all winter and you can sort of see the progress we were going through, and everyone was putting in the work, and so sort of, see that playing out at the moment. It's been, awesome to be a part of, and, I'm still aspiring to play as much cricket as I can for Australia, but, while I've been at Victoria, it's been awesome, and I'm loving it at the moment.
Because the thing with you, without harping on it, is that not only did you get that opportunity, but you actually did really well. So I can imagine you're sitting back going, well, I actually think I can do this at the next level. That waiting for the next opportunity would make it, I would imagine, this is me thinking, but agonising in a sense.
Yeah, I think a lot of players go through that though. It was obviously really pleasing to have some success at test level, and that does give you some real confidence that what you're doing is working and it's good enough. And if you do get another opportunity, you've got that confidence in the bank that you can do it. So that's definitely a positive. But I suppose it's one of those things in professional sport that you can't have it all your own way. So yeah, there's layers to it, and you got to keep working away behind the scenes. And yeah, hopefully that opportunity comes again. And if it does, I can take it with both hands.
So, from your point of view, as you go back a level to Victoria, are you trying to be a better bowler and come up with even more tricks, more strings to your bow, or is it to come back and just doing what you've done well to give you that opportunity to play for Australia? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I think you're always sort of seeing if you can evolve and improve. And that's the beauty of cricket, that doesn't matter sort of who you are, you're always looking to improve and see if you can get better. So there's definitely that, but then it's also, yeah, trusting that what I do is good enough as well, and going out there and trying to execute my stuff to the best of my ability will give me the best chance to succeed. So, yeah, not trying to reinvent the wheel at all, and try and be someone I'm not, and just, yeah, trying to keep doing me.
From what you've done so far this year, what have you liked the most? So not only, as you said, playing for Victoria,
Yeah.
Red and white ball, but also the Australia A game up in Mackay. What is it that you've sort of ticked off the list to say, yep, things are going well where you want them to be?
I think starting with the white ball stuff, I've sort of had a slightly different role this year, which at the start of the year I was maybe a little bit unsure of how it would play out, and sort of bowling my overs a little bit later and not coming into the game sort of straight out of the first power play. And I think that's been really effective, and sort of seen that I've had some good numbers this year, and been able to take some wickets, which has been really nice. So that was probably the first layer of the season, which, yeah, I was happy with, and it sort of gives you that confidence going into the red ball stuff. And then I think for the Victorian point of view, it's been nice just to contribute to some really good wins, and yeah, being able to have some success on interesting wickets we've played on. Like we had the MCG, which was nipping around a little bit. Had a couple of wickets out here, which were being a bit more docile, and you've had to try and find ways to get blokes out in different sort of scenarios. And then, yeah, getting to play against the Indians in Mackay was another great highlight of the season. And there are obviously some world-class class players that have had some real success. So for them to come out here and, for me to back myself in and try and just find ways that, I can execute what I want to do, and, try and challenge them was awesome as well.
Explain to us, this might sound silly, but explain to us the role that you play in that bowling group. Obviously, you bowl off spin, but the role you play, whether it's to take wickets, whether it's to hold up an end, it might be a variety of different things. But for those that do watch you on the stream all the time, or come down to the junction or to the MCG to watch you play, I'd be interested for you to explain what it is that you're trying to do for the team.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's probably been one of the biggest learnings I've had over the last 12 months. I think reflecting back, when I come into the side, the first few games I played was when we were playing two spinners, and they were sort of on more spin conducive wickets. So your role was to come into the side, and when you're bowling, is to try and take wickets and break the game open. And then I think if you look around the country over the last 12 months, they've probably been more seam friendly wickets. So my role within that sort of slightly shifted, and it's not about losing my mindset of trying to take wickets and be aggressive, but also understanding periods of time where if I can give the quicks a chop out for sort of 10, 15 overs from one end and hold the scoreboard, and if I pick up a wicket, that's a bonus. But if not, that's still a really important period of the game as well. So, I think I'm learning on the go how that looks. And then there's times where conditions are in your favour, and it's like you get thrown the ball, and it's like, all right, your job's to try and get a few wickets for us now. So it's probably a fine balance. You want to obviously bowl to take wickets, but then there's periods of games where if I can go at 2.5 and over, it's just as important as taking a wicket.
So have you got a number on the board? Because you can see it, whether it be at the MCG or here at Junction, it'll have the economy rate, and you looking at to be under 2 and over or under 2.5 and over. Is there a number that's in your mind, or is it more how your bowling is defining your success?
Yeah, and it can shift from day 1 to day 2 to day 3 to day 4. But I think, like on a day 1 wicket at the MCG where it might be nipping around, if I can sort of go at 2.5, 3 and over, and bowl my 10 overs, and if you get 1 for 30, that's an awesome day as well. It doesn't have to look like the 3 for 45 or the 3 for 50. You're trying to control the game the best you can, and and if you can pick up a wicket while doing that, it's a great bonus for the team.
Talking about the team, that win against WA, they're hard to beat, and I know they had a lot of players out of the side that would normally be there, but on a wicket that wasn't offering a lot for the bowlers, to get 20 wickets and to win that game, how satisfying was that? Yeah,
extremely satisfying. I think there's been numerous times we've gone over there with a one-day game and a Shield game, and we've come back with nothing. So I suppose to be able to do that to them was really pleasing. And off the back of a challenging week in Adelaide, to respond the way we did in both formats was awesome. And yeah, they might have had their first choice 11 out, but I think that's sort of the beauty of Shield cricket at the moment is squad depth getting tested, and we had a couple of guys come back in that stepped up really well in Crony and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think that's where Shield cricket at the moment's in a great place. That yeah, guys from your squad have to come up and perform, and we've been lucky enough to do that. So yeah, it was a great win, and as you said, to get 20 wickets out there, which is always challenging, to do it the way we did, especially on day one to set up the game. Yeah, it was an awesome effort.
And for you to get 4 wickets in the One Day Cup and then go back and get 4 wickets in the Sheffield Shield on the first day, that must be pleasing.
Yeah, definitely. I think having an impact on day one of a 4-day game's super pleasing, and off the back of the 1-day game where I was really happy with how I bowled, it sort of feels like it's flowing nicely now, and it's one of those ones that you just want to continue to play.
Now, one of the battles you had was Corey Rocchiccioli, and it was sort of built up a bit as Corey Rocchiccioli versus Todd Murphy, both off spinners, both wanting to play for your country. Do you feel the pressure, but was there a bit more competitiveness in that game as a result of the fact that you were up against each other?
I don't know if you say more. I think every game you go into, you're trying to outbowl the other spinner, and that's sort of a little contest within a contest. But I think you want to have the most influence on the game as you can. And Rock's obviously been outstanding for WA, and he plays a super important role for how they want to operate as a team. So it was another little, I suppose, exciting little challenge, and one of those ones that, it's a little bit competitive, but it's still great as well in a sense.
Because you bowl so differently. Is that just the way it is, or is that by design that he and you bowl so differently that the potential down the track is that you could both play in the same team together?
Yeah, in a way, I think you're sort of a bit of a product of your environment, and him playing a lot of cricket at the Wacker, he used his height and he gets some really good bounce over there as well. And then I probably play a little bit more cricket out here where it's not doing a hell of a lot, and there's sort of different ways I try and go about it to see if I can create chances or hold the scoreboard as well. So I think it's probably stemmed from what you're used to doing a lot of the time, and there's definitely different ways we go about it, which, as you said, can complement each other really well in the future potentially. And then it's also it's just different looks at, and I suppose it's good to see that although we go about it differently, you can still both have success on the same sort of wicket.
Can you learn from each other? I mean, I found it fascinating watching the two of you bowl so differently in the same conditions.
Yeah.
Are you looking at him thinking, that might be something I can pick up on? Or do you guys trade ideas or philosophies after the day's play? How does it work?
It's a good
behind
question.
The scenes?
I reckon potentially I'd look at what he does more over in Western Australia, and if I was to go over there, try and see if I could implement that sort of stuff where he's had some real success. I think I'm pretty comfortable with what I'm trying to do, I suppose, in Victoria and on the wickets we play on. And I think I'm quite comfortable in backing myself that that's going to be good enough. So I probably don't try and reinvent the wheel when I'm here. But if I was to go over to Western Australia, you look at what he's done and how he's got his wickets, and what fielding positions might be in the game, what might not be, and how you can challenge batsmen in different ways. And I presume he'd do the same when he comes over here as well.
How much do you think about Sri Lanka? And there's also a tour against the West Indies as well next year. Do you think much about it?
Yes and no. Like, it's there, but it's pointless getting caught up on it when it's still so far away. And if I don't perform for Victoria, then I'm not going to be on that tour. So although you understand it's there and there might be an opportunity for a couple of spinners to go on it, you're still, you're back playing for Victoria and you're trying to do well for the Big V. And if you can, then you give yourself the best chance of being on that tour. So, I don't try and play into it too much. I'm aware it's there, but if it happens, awesome. And if not, that's okay as well.
So the reason I ask the question is, do you start thinking about bowling like you would have to in Sri Lankan conditions, which are obviously different to here in Australia? Is it something you can try out in a match situation or more in the nets? Is it more something you're talking to Daniel Vittori about, just from that point of view of making sure that if it is that you are selected, you are ready?
No, for sure. And I had a really good conversation with Dan Vittori and Andrew McDonald when I went over to Adelaide and had a bowl with him before the 1-day game with the Aussies in Adelaide. And it was sort of about that, just about making sure I'm still checking in on what I'm trying to do for those conditions as well. And don't neglect it. And then you get on the plane, if you do go, and you're trying to catch up while you're over there, keep working away at it in the nets here. And I think the beauty, in a way, of bowling on the junction wicket as well is that I feel like I do that in games as well, that I do bowl some more square seam stuff. And so I think that's the beauty of the conditions that I get here is I'm able to continue to develop sort of all different ways of bowling, and which I think holds me in good stead going to Asia. And then I think leading into BBL as well, that slightly more defensive way of bowling also works really well in Asia as well. So there's two positives there.
Because one of the great things about when you went over to India bowling square seam is that wasn't necessarily what you grew up doing.
Yeah.
Now, you grew up as a medium pacer essentially, but you came into the Victorian setup as someone that bowled more sort of top spin than square seam. Now, you've got a cricket ball there. I've got you a cricket ball. And I know most people are listening on the as an audio, this podcast, as opposed to video. But can you explain to us the difference between the two? If the ball helps, then...
Yeah, I don't want to give away all my secrets,
No,
Whitey, but
just be a bit careful.
there's actually not too much difference in the way I hold the ball. Like, it's still my stock standard grip, which the two fingers are split, and then it's more just on release of how I want to position my wrist. And your stock standard off spinner, your palms facing out, and then I suppose as you work your way around the clock, your wrist opens up a little bit, and the seam squares up a bit more, and there's slightly more natural variation with that. So it's not big changes, but I think it's just sort of finding subtle ways of trying to get something different out of the wicket, and that hopefully, like when I'm bowling more square stuff, like I'm hoping that one still bites and spins, but the other one still hits the shiny side and skids on as well. So
it's not a dramatic change in an action that means you can get into bad habits of not doing one thing more than what you should be doing. And
no, I don't think so. I think it's very small changes, but I think from an off spinner's point of view, like your action's still exactly the same, your run up's still exactly the same. So to bring it back, it's not a huge change, no.
Daniel Vittori, does he have a big impact on you? Because you are a Cricket Australia contracted player now, so you've got the ability to tap into so much more than you otherwise would. Craig Howard's been a big impact on your career as well. John Holland's now floating around at Cricket Victoria. Who do you go to when you need some assistance?
Yeah, I've been really lucky in that sense. I feel like everywhere I've gone, I've had some really good people to work with, and even when I first went to the Sixers, I had Steve O'Keefe there as well. So I've been super lucky in that sense. It's obviously like Duck's probably the most hands-on with me at the moment because he sees me the most at Victoria, and then got to be a bit careful here, but Howie's, although he's still with Sri Lankan cricket, I still have open dialogue with him, and so I still touch base with him, and if he sees some stuff, then he might say something and all that sort of stuff as well. So, and then when you sort of, Vittoria's probably the one where like it's hard to always be in contact when he's got so many different things going on as well. Like he's all around the world. He's an IPL coach. He's a coach for the 100 team as well. Like he's quite busy, so I'm not his sole person. Like he works with a lot of different players. So I think having still the communication consistently is important. And then when I do get the chance to work with him, and you can sort of pick back up where you left off, and you're not trying to start again, which is important.
A day-night Sheffield Shield game presents on the weekend against Queensland, which we don't play very many of them. I can't imagine you've played in a day-night Sheffield Shield game before. What's that experience going to be like, or do you have to play it first before you can answer the question? Yeah,
I haven't played a day-night Shield game. I played a day-night Aussie A game against the West Indies, which was my first Aussie A game. So that was a different challenge in itself. But I think it's still the same game at the end of the day. You just start a bit later and finish a bit later. But and to be honest, up in Queensland at the Gabba, I've got no idea what that looks like for me. Might be more seam-friendly conditions, but same thing. I'm excited by it. It's always cool when you get to have a different challenge, and playing a pink ball game I think is exciting for everyone, and just another different dimension to the Shield season. But another good opportunity for everyone.
You might struggle to get the ball out of Fergus's hands in those sorts of conditions.
I think you struggle to get it out of his hand in any conditions. He's been amazing with what he's done. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how he bowls up in Brisbane this week.
So you turned 24 only, last week? Something like that, last week. Do you feel like you're a senior member of the team, though? Like, it's an interesting team. There's a couple of really senior players, but then there's a whole group of you that are sort of similar age. Now, you've been only on the scene for a couple of years now, but do you feel that? Do you feel that you're a senior member?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think there's probably a lot of us in the same boat that we're still working out our own games and how we can best perform week in, week out. But also with that, we're key figures of the team that play week in, week out. So you still got to go out there and perform. I think the beauty of it is, though, like we're supported really well by Pete and Harry. When Sids plays, when Scotty plays, like to have those guys around you that you can lean on and talk to is so beneficial for us young guys. And the beauty of it is, like, we've had the chance to sort of get 15, 20, 25 Shield games into all of us now, where we are starting to understand how we want to go about it, and getting, I suppose, the opportunity to play each week. Only fast tracks that, so that's awesome.
Are there times where you have to remind yourself that you are only just 24 and you have only been around for a few years, even from a point of view of whether that's expectations or off the back of a grueling 4 days here at Junction against WA, how your body recovers and all that sort of thing? Because it's all new still.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and I know within myself, and it's no secret in cricket, but like I'm not going to be at my best for another 4 or 5 years. So I suppose embracing that and just really enjoying getting to play the cricket I'm playing at the moment, knowing that I've still got some more improvement to come, which is really exciting as well. And if I'm able to have some success now, hopefully that sets me up really well going forward.
And I guess the frustration of Nathan playing until he's about 50 means if he can do it, you can do it. So you've still got, again, so much left in your career. Yeah,
exactly. I think from an off-spin point of view, where potentially can play for a little bit longer than some of the fast bowlers with what they go through. So, seeing what Nath can still do now, I'm not even sure how old he is, but seeing what he can do now definitely gives you that. And he's bowling potentially as well as he ever has. So it's definitely great confidence leading forward that you're only going to continue to get better.
How do you watch the India series? Because obviously you've got Victorian games to play as well, but you saw in England only 18 months ago how quickly your life changed and how quickly it can change for you from a cricket point of view. Are you watching nervously, thinking it might be you in the next match, depending on what happens? Do you try and not think that? Do you try and not watch? How do you get through the next sort of 6 weeks?
Probably more watch it just as a fan and enjoy the cricket. Like, it's two of the best teams playing against each other, and I think it's a great learning for me as well to watch the game and watch how Lyon bowls, watch how Ashwin bowls, and watch how the best batsmen try and play them. And I think from that point of view, like, that's the best learning you can have, is watching the best do it against the best. So I'll definitely watch as much as I can around our games, and then also understanding that potentially if something happens, and I hope it doesn't for Nate's sake, like I hope he gets to play all 5 games and does really well, but there's still one of us has to be ready to go as well. So you want to making sure you're in order if that happens, that you can be called upon. But I think I'll more watch it from a fan point of view and more of a learning point of view as well.
When you were in India, did you get the opportunity to tap into Ashwin or to Jadeja or to any of the Indian players around off-spin bowling and your craft? Did that present as a chance?
Not as much in India. I actually was lucky enough that in the World Test Championship final, I was a part of the squad. Obviously didn't play, and Ashwin got left out as well. So we were sort of sitting in the same spot, both running drinks, and actually got to have some really good conversations with him about off-spin bowling, and learnt some. He obviously goes about it quite differently to a lot of other people. He's a huge thinker of the game, and dives into a lot of different things that I potentially don't, but still listen to him speak about it, and what lengths he's go to was definitely great learning. But
what did you learn?
I think just how he prepares to play against players, and if he's coming out to Australia, he'll bowl on concrete blocks just to try and replicate the bounce and try and find what length he wants to bowl on those wickets. So seeing what measures other guys go to is always a really interesting one. But then also lucky enough to be in the same squad as Nath and have Dan Vittoria's bowling coach, that the conversations you have sort of around training and around games are as good as it gets as well. So from a learning point of view, it doesn't get much better than that.
Do you just ask a stack of questions, or is it more observing what they do? And
I'm probably more of an observer. I ask questions, but I'm not overbearing with what I ask. I don't think I love getting to train with Gaz and just watch how he bowls, and I'd obviously love to be able to do what he does as well as he can. But having the conversations open and flowing with them sort of guys is it's awesome.
All right, last question. With where Victoria's at the moment, how do you feel the season is going? We sort of touched on it earlier, but Are we feeling where we want to be? We are on top of the ladder when you look at the table at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. I think you couldn't be in a better position really at the moment. So to have 2 wins out of the first 4 and a draw, I think we're set up really nicely. And I think if you can go into the Christmas break with around 3 wins, you're giving yourself a chance of pushing for a Shield final. So it's set up for that, but we've still got to continue to play good cricket. I think with where Australian cricket's at the moment, like every game's so competitive as well. And we go to the Gabba this week, but yes, Queensland haven't won a game, but you still look at their side and you understand how tough it's going to be to beat them. So yeah, we've got to continue to play some good cricket, but it's really pleasing that we've given ourselves a chance to push for those sort of opportunities in both the white ball and the red ball to start the season.
Well, thanks for joining us. It's been great watching you, particularly with what you're able to do against WA personally. To get the 4 for in the white ball, then the 4 for in the first innings just shows how well you're bowling yourself. Good luck. I can say it. I hope maybe you get a chance in India, but certainly ahead to Sri Lanka. We'll keep chatting and hopefully you get that baggy green back on your hat very soon. The baggy green on your head very soon.
No, that would be awesome. Thanks, Whitey.
Todd Murphy joining us on the Vic State Cricket Podcast. We'll catch you again soon.